Shading Venn diagrams is one of the more difficult topics we'll cover in the entire course. It's a process where you need to stay calm, patient, and organized, and you'll be okay. Just take it one step at a time, and it'll be a lot easier. Let's take a look at sort of the structure that we're going to use when we're going to shade Venn diagrams. A Venn diagram is a way to organize information, and one of the things we can have is a two-circle Venn diagram with set A and set B. And you can see here we can have some elements that are in set A by themselves, elements that are in set B by themselves, elements that are in both sets, that are in the overlap, which we'll call the intersection of those two sets, and then we can also have elements that are outside those two sets completely. So those are the four places where things can be. Now, we want to be able to communicate about those different regions on the diagram, and the way we're going to do that is by using Roman numerals. We're going to call this region 1, region 2, region 3, and region 4. The reason for the Roman numerals is later on we're going to solve problems with Venn diagrams where we're going to have a certain number of elements within each of those regions. When we're doing that, we're going to use the numbers we're more familiar with. When we're describing the regions, we're going to use these Roman numerals. So let's take a look at actually doing some shading. Let's say what we want to shade is the set A intersect B in a two-circle Venn diagram. There's a couple of ways you can go about this, and at the beginning I tend to approach it like a cartoon strip, where I'm going to have a series of pictures with the final one being my answer. And so I've got set A and set B. So there's my sort of template where I'm going to start my diagram. And I want to know where does A intersect B. So I'm going to shade set A, and I'm going to shade it this way. There's set A. Then I'm also going to shade set B. And now what this is asking me for is I want the intersection or the overlap of the shading that I just created. Well, if I kind of look at my picture here, where do those two sets overlap? It's going to be right here is where I have both red and blue lines. And so my final picture here, my answer for the set A intersect B is going to be shaded right here in the middle. And if a question were to say what regions are shaded, the only region that is shaded in this picture is region 2, the one right in the middle. Let's look at another one. This time we're going to shade A union B. That means we're going to join these two sets together. Again, I'm going to start out with my blank diagram that has set A and set B. I'm going to go ahead and shade set A. Then I'm going to go ahead and shade set B. Now this is a little different than last time. This time I'm not looking for where they overlap or where they intersect. Union tells me just to join these two sets together. So anything that I have shaded is going to be a part of my answer. So when I go to write my answer for this one, where I've got my diagram with set A and set B, anything that's shaded is going to be a part of my answer. So I'm just going to join all of that together, and that is my diagram for A union B. And if I want to know what regions have been shaded, well, region 1, region 2, and region 3 have all been shaded. You might be thinking, okay, well, what about that region 4? How are we ever going to get there? Well, there's a very important term in the topic of set theory, and that term is the complement. And for example, the set A complement, that's everything in our diagram that's not inside set A. So let's take a look and see what A complement would look like. So I've got my two-circle Venn diagram. I'm sticking with that for now, and I've got set A and set B. And if I want to shade A complement, that's going to be everything that is outside of set A. So that's this piece over here, of course, and it's also everything that's outside of set A. Now if we want to know what regions just got shaded, well, 1 is not, 2 is not, but region 3 is shaded and region 4 is shaded. And that's the set A complement. Let's look at another example that includes a complement. This time, we're going to shade the set A complement union B. So again, I'll start with my basic 2-circle Venn diagram, and I'm going to start by shading A complement. We kind of saw what that looked like just a minute ago. That's everything outside of set A. And then I'm going to join this with set B. So now I need to also shade set B. I'm not looking for where they overlap in this particular case. I want to join them together. I want the union of these two sets. And when I do that, the picture that's my answer is going to include anything that's been shaded so far. So anything that's shaded over there in my picture on the left, that's going to be a part of my answer. All of this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. And what regions have been shaded? Well, regions 2, 3, and 4. A question that commonly comes up here is students want to say, how in the world can you include region 2? It says A complement. That means it has to be the stuff outside of A. Well, remember, this is union. We are joining this with set B. So anything that's in A complement gets shaded. Join that with anything that's in set B. Also gets shaded. So the reason that region 2 is shaded is because it's a part of set B. And we are joining these two sets together. So it's perfectly fine to have region 2 shaded here. And in fact, it's necessary. Okay, let's ramp this up just a little bit. Now, instead of only having a 2-circle diagram, we're going to have a 3-circle diagram. Now we're looking at 3 sets, A, B, and C. You'll notice our diagram has a lot more regions now. So let's see how we're going to label those. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we've got 8 regions in our diagram that we're going to talk about when we do shading. So let's take a look at what some 3-circle shading examples would look like. We're actually going to start out with something that looks fairly familiar. A intersect B. I want to know where does set A overlap set B. But now we're going to do it in the context of a 3-circle diagram. So I've got set A, set B, and set C. I'll start out by, I need to shade set A. So here is set A. And you're thinking, hey, part of that's in set C. What are you doing there? Well, remember, set A is everything inside that A circle. So it all gets shaded. Now I need to shade set B. And again, that's everything inside the B circle. And so where do sets A and B overlap? Well, that's this football-shaped region right here in the middle. Yes, that does include part of set C. That's just how it goes. A and B overlap includes that. It's okay. So now when I go to draw my picture of my answer, I've got set A, set B, and set C. And my answer is going to include that right there. And let's see, what regions are those? That's region 2, 3, 4, and region 5. Don't forget region 5. Where do A and B overlap? That's what we're trying to find out. Well, they overlap here and here. And so we need to include both of those regions in our answer. Next, let's take a look at set B joined with set C. This is union, so we're joining them together. We're not looking for the overlap this time. I'm just going to join these two sets together. So I've got set A, set B, and set C. So I need to shade set B. That's everything inside the B circle is set B. And then set C is everything inside the C circle. Now this time I'm not looking for the overlap, so it's not going to be that football-shaped piece. This time it's union. I just want to join these two sets together. So anything that I've shaded at all is going to be a part of my answer. And so when I go to draw the answer for this one, which is A, B, C, I'm going to include all of set B, joined with all of set C, and let's see, that's region 2, region 3, region 4, 5, 6, and 7. A lot of regions are shaded there. Remember, it's union. We're joining the two together. Now let's add another operation. And we'll have A intersect B union C. When you have multiple operations like this and no parentheses, we're just going to work from left to right. So we're going to start out with our blank three-circle diagram. Set A, set B, and set C. And as you get better at this, you might say, well, I know where A intersect B is. It's that football-shaped piece in the region, so I don't need to do this in as many steps. But as long as we're working to get comfortable, let's kind of start out with, okay, there's set A, there's set B. So just the very first piece of this, I'm not done yet. This is just the first piece. The very first piece of this that I do, A intersect B, and like I said, some of you can probably go straight here. You're comfortable enough to just go right here with A intersect B. But A intersect B is going to be this piece right there. Now I want to join that union with set C. So now I need to shade set C. And we'll do that. And then my final answer for this thing is going to be anything that's been shaded is going to be shaded in my answer. So kind of take a look at that picture. I don't have enough on this screen to do it. I'm going to have to move over. And when I have A intersect B joined with C, that's what my picture is going to be. And let's see what regions we've got included. We've got region 2, 3 is not, but we have region 4, region 5, region 6, and region 7 are all shaded. And that's A intersect B, union C. Here again, you might be thinking, what about that region 8 out there? Well, we're going to get there by using the complement. Let's look at one more example. The example we're going to do is B complement intersect A union C. You'll notice that A union C is parentheses, so we're going to do that first, and then find where B complement intersects that. So let's start out with our diagram. And A, B, C. So I need A union C to start with. Well, that's going to be everything in set A joined with everything in set C. And I'm going to go ahead and draw it that way. I hope that's okay for you at this point. But we've taken everything in A and joined it with everything in C. So that's what we've got shaded so far. Now what I want to do is find the intersection, the overlap of what I have shaded so far with B complement. So let's shade B complement. That's everything outside of B. Notice that's how we get to region 8. Everything outside of B is right there. And then this problem asks me for the intersection, the overlap. I'm not joining these together. I'm looking for the intersection, the overlap. What do these have in common? Well, I'll look at my picture pretty carefully, figure out the regions where these two sets overlap. And I've got, it looks like right here, and right here. And so the regions that I end up with for B complement intersect A union C is region 1, region 4, and region 7. That's shading with Venn diagrams. Be patient, take your time, don't expect to jump right to the answer, and practice these. You can do it, it just takes a little bit of effort.